Dear listeners, our Today in History is a little bit different. I was going to tell you a very legitimate fact about Today in History, but it has just come across my desk that Today in History in the year of our Lord 2022, the Choco Taco has been discontinued after almost 40 years.
Welcome to What the Fuck History, where we discuss the wackiest and weirdest things that make us say, well, what the fuck history. I am your host, Zachary, and I finished today tired and not wanting to do, well, anything. But like the good god pharaoh that I am, I consumed 100 dying planets in order to have some energy for you, the listener. The trouble is now I have too much energy and I'm ready to fight all the other gods. Tell Thanatos to meet me in the Denny's parking lot, that dumb bitch. No, I will not be going quietly into this night. Also hit up my boy Shezmu and have him bring me a damned bottle of wine for when I'm fucking done.
My name is Meghan, and I just like to ask, what house is your Venus in today in astrology? I'm just concerned that it might be lost.
And I'm Matt. Today I learned that sunflowers, like all flowers, will turn to the sun to get their photosynthesis on. On days when they cannot find the sun, they turn to each other.
That's sweet.
Yeah, it's really cute. Have you seen pictures of it?
I have seen pictures of it. It is adorable.
Yeah.
It is. They're just like, you're so beautiful. You're like the sun.
You're big and yellow and round.
You're big and yellow and round. Have you ever seen cross sections of grass?
No.
No.
So, like, when you
Or are you
look,
talking about the smiles?
it's the smiles.
The happy faces?
Yeah, it's the happy faces. Like, their cells look like happy faces.
And then they die because it's a cross section.
Okay, but, like, the funny thing, before we think about the inevitability of death, is that someone wrote a caption underneath it, and it was just like, our mommy is the sun, and she is big and beautiful.
Fuck yeah.
I mean, yeah, that works out.
I love that.
So I like to think about that aspect. But seriously, where is Venus though?
It's in the sky. I left that one alone, okay?
Listen, I was trying to figure out what house Venus is in after you read your horoscope, and I can't figure it out.
So I'm not sure that that's how that works, but I'll have to ask my friend who's much better than I am at this shit.
Yeah, you're gonna have to ask
Yeah.
where the planets. Where are the planets?
Yeah, so my Venus is in my
them.
Venus as well, and also my sun is in Leo.
Okay.
Which is the 7th house for me.
Where is Libra's Venus? Then we can get on to history.
Yes.
I just need to know what planet rules Libra.
What planet rules Libra?
Venus.
It is totally dependent on where, when you were born.
Bustle is telling me it's governed by Venus, and I am taking it.
Okay.
Anyway, do you want to roll us into our order tonight?
Our strikes have been set to 0, and a
Amen,
game of Boulder
brother.
Parchment Shears has been played, and the order for tonight is Zach, then me, then Megan.
Yeah.
Did you say rock, paper, shears?
No, Boulder Parchment
Boulder.
Shears. It's a
Parchment
critical role.
Okay. Very well, then.
God, Zach, get on it.
that note-
This is about history.
On that note,
We're here for history, not astrology.
my introduction today had absolutely nothing to do with the story I will be talking about
Okay,
tonight.
I'll be honest with you. Your introduction today was a bit
Okay,
much.
you know what? You're right. It was a bit much, and I'm going to...
I wasn't sure how to feel.
My story is unbelievably mild compared to the energy I brought at the beginning tonight, and because I think that I need to back off. That's fair. And also because, as you could guess, we are once again talking about heinous gentlemen of history.
Heinous gentlemen of history.
Which, by the way, I just want Stephen Fry one time to just read all of my notes in his sonorous tones. Anyway. So,
his sonorous tones.
today we are going to be talking about a man with another ridiculous name, because all the greats have to have some flaw for some fucking reason, right?
Does he have 5 names, though?
No, he has 2.
Okay. Well, that's a normal amount of names.
So we're going to be talking about William Jacques, a man with 2 normal-ish names.
Well, aside from the last one being French.
Yeah. But William Jacques was known as the Tome Raider, Tome.
Okay.
William was born in 1969, so not a very long time ago in... Guys, wait, just hold on a second. I'm sorry. I just can't do this tonight. I can't. Okay. I fucking can't. No. Because I need to keep that same fucking energy from the intro, baby. You thought I was gonna coddle you with some fun little shit about some dork who likes books? Well, you can fuck that sky high. I'm here to fight gods, eat souls, and fuck your brains with some knowledge. So we're gonna take a break from my mini-series to deliver a second mini-series that I'm calling Pieces of Shit from the Past.
Oh my god.
Hey, guys. Hey, audience. It's been a while since I've had to do this, but I'm doing a quick sidebar just to let you know that if you're scared of Zach at this moment, so are we. But we have to play it off like we're not that scared because we still have to record a podcast with him. Okay, we're going to go back to listening to Zach rant and rave like Randy Savage now. Have a good time. Bye-bye.
Matthew, I am flexing every muscle in my body and all the veins
Oh my god,
my
I
neck
couldn't get harder. Please tell me more.
Now that we are here with the proper energy, let's fucking dive in.
Please.
I'm so pumped.
Ooh, I'm about to dive in.
I am going to be talking about Mohammed Saha, hard pronunciation, of Malacca. No, Malacca! If you do not know, Malacca is a little bit of land on the coast of Malaysia that was kind of a big deal back in the day. Meghan, can you confirm you're more of the Asian historian than I am?
Wait, so about Malacca?
Yeah. It was kind of a big deal.
She doesn't know anything about Malacca.
No, I know about the Malacca Strait, which is so Singapore is on one side and Indonesia is on the other.
Yeah, it's good for trade and shit.
Yeah, it was super good for trade, actually. Whoever controlled the Malacca Strait was sort of like the gateway into East Asia, so...
There you go. See, I told you, it was important.
It is really important. Sorry, when you were saying Malacca, it took like a hot second for me to be like, I had like that Jimmy Neutron moment where I was
brain
like,
blast.
Malacca, and I was just like, there it is on my mind map.
So, yes, I am talking about Mahmoud Shadi.
His name is Leonard Shaw.
Well, his last name is Shah. So it's like Shah.
Steve, let us know how to pronounce that.
I'm going to be calling him Mahmoud for like most of the fucking time. So anyway.
That's fine.
The best part about this is the dude also has like 8 other names besides the one I'm butchering. So if you want to hear me butcher all of them, I'll record that on a separate thing just to make people happy. Because it will take me all night to do it. But his names aren't that fucking important. Gotta keep this energy, I'm choosing violence. This man certainly did as well.
Amen.
He becomes the Sultanate of Malacca when he's very young due to his father dying prematurely. ... I wonder how that happened. ... He was a child, I don't think he did it, but you never know.
He might have.
He might have.
Children are capable of violence.
Yeah, absolutely. But basically, the point of making there is that he is a petulant child with a fuck ton of power, meaning he does some pretty shitty things. Eventually, like, when he gets into his teens and stuff, they're like, this dude's ruthless as shit. Like, he's a nasty fucking monarch. He's not a nice person at all. A good example of his ruthlessness comes from later on in his rule when he has an advisor. Well, it's a Bendahara, which is kind of like the vizier to the sultan. Well, it is the vizier to the sultan, but think of like Jafar from Aladdin, but in this case, the Jafar's kind of meh, and the kooky old man, who's the sultan, is an absolute dickbag. Following me so far?
No, I got it.
No? Okay.
No, I think I got it. I'm picturing Jafar, and that's all I need.
I'm picturing a worse Jafar
Yeah.
And Sultan, who's a dickbag.
Sultan, who's a dickbag, and Jafar is like, he's not great, he's not good.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So Mahmud the Sultan and Tun Mutir is his bendahara. And Tun Mutir is taking a fuck ton of bribes left and right to anoint ministers on a whim, which are like, kind of like extra. I don't know how to put it other than like, I'm trying to relate it back to the only government system that I know because it's the only one I've lived in. But it's like, it's like a bunch of local politicians is the best way to put it. And so you're not really supposed to do that because then everyone has a bunch of power in a kingdom that's already shaky as best. And they basically just sit there and argue with each other and nothing actually gets done.
So, Congress.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Okay. Now I have a concrete image in my mind.
So basically, the Sultan is the one at the top, and then the bendahara is like the person right below him, and the bendahara is just like sitting there electing a bunch of people and giving them like, it's like if England back in the heyday was just giving everybody dukedoms for no fucking reason, Mahmud's solution to the problem of his bendahara just giving out titles and no matter whatever you want, as long as like you pay him enough money. Any assumptions on what his solution would be?
Death.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Lots of murder.
He just kills.
Yeah, dude.
He kills his bendahara, and his bendahara's entire family.
Well, yeah, I mean, like, what better solution is there to just murk the competition?
Just murk the competition. It's that fucking
Just
easy.
kill them.
Yeah.
Just kill them.
When in
Just
doubt,
murder them
Moida.
all. Moida.
So it's also speculated that Mahmud killed Tun Matir and his family because he wanted to sleep with Tun Matir's daughter, and he was like, "Nah, dude, I know you're Sultan, but like, don't fuck my daughter." And Mahmud was like,
"Please don't fuck my daughter."
Mahmud was like, "I put my dick where I want. I'm the Sultan. You die now."
The Sultan.
Piece of shit.
Piece of shit.
Great guy so far, am I right?
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm really loving him.
So
I'm also loving that you're trying with these names, which is nice.
I'm trying so fucking hard.
I think what's fun about this podcast specifically is that when we occasionally run into names that we don't know how to pronounce, we just butcher them entirely.
Yeah.
And Zach is honestly out here tonight giving it his best.
It his all.
I'm giving it
Giving
an old
it
college try.
110% for real.
Yes. Fuck yeah.
So I appreciate that about you tonight.
It's the fourth quarter. Only a minute and a half left. 10 yards to the goal line.
And if he has to pronounce all these names right to get that touchdown, he's gonna fucking do it.
Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. Anyway, getting myself pumped back up. Where was I?
Pump up the jams.
Pump the jams, pump it up. Anyway, 1510. The Portuguese admiral, Diogo Lopes de Zachary, visits Malacca.
He's really trying.
I am trying so
Guys,
fucking
I
hard.
cannot stress this enough. Zach is fucking trying.
Guys, this is the episode where Zach fucking tries.
Guys, I'm pretty sure the title of this episode will be The One Where Zach Tries.
So anyway, Diogo Lopes de Zachary
So anyway.
visits Malacca. Regular diplomatic shit. As Meghan mentioned earlier, the Strait of Malacca is kind of a whole big fucking deal.
So big deal.
This is 1510. And, it's around the time when most of Europe does the whole colonizing bullshit. But the Portuguese were there to kind of just, like, be pretty normal for the most part, it seemed. But that didn't stop Mahmud from being absolutely batshit insane, because he takes this visit as a threat to his power from outside sources and plans to assassinate Diogo.
Diogo.
I want to say Diego because it looks like Diego, but it's Diogo, so it's Diogo. Diogo. Anyway, I'm saying it also with like a Spanish accent instead of I don't know what a Portuguese accent is.
I'm literally dead at how hard Zach is
So
going at this
fucking
story
hard.
right now.
Anyway, so it doesn't go well, and the admiral flees, the assassination attempt fails, and it's just a shit show for politics now. Because another Portuguese admiral named Afonso de Albuquerque, I know I said the last name so fucking American, but if you saw what I'm seeing right now, you'd do the same.
You're like, it's 1,000% Albuquerque.
Okay, it is spelled Albuquerque. That's Albuquerque.
That's
Steve.
Albuquerque.
Hey, Steve, tell us how to say that.
Steve, tell me if it's Albuquerque. Anyway, so Alfonso takes this and he says, assassination attempt on my other dude, Diogo, seems kind of fucked up. I think that this gives me the right, at least in my own head, to start a conquest of Asia.
He's just like,
As you so often do.
Yeah, you know,
I think I want the whole thing.
if I started a conquest of a certain part of the world every time one of my buddies almost got assassinated, I'd own the world.
Wow. That happens far too often.
No, it just happens once, but I take everything instead of parts of the world. I just want the whole fucking thing.
No, it only takes once.
You slighted me once, which means I must destroy you. Anyway, so after this assassination attempt is actually when Mahmud does the Bendahara killing that I mentioned previously. So that happens right around 1511. 1511 happens, and he kills all the Bendahara and his family, and he's like, I think I should step down from the throne. Yeah, that's a good idea. So, in the one...
now that we're thinking about it.
Now that I'm thinking about it, the one smart move he has, he steps down from the throne and abdicates it to his son, Ahmed. Which seems pretty wise, as I said, for a dude who just had one attempted assassination and several actual murders under his belt in the past 6 months. But
That
wait,
sounds right.
there's more.
But wait, there's more.
As there always is.
So Mahmud flees Malacca because the Portuguese are coming, and they want his head.
They're coming.
They're coming. So the Portuguese are coming. He knows it. He leaves. He goes to an island a little ways away, and the Portuguese end up taking Malacca because Ahmed was handed this shitty kingdom from his father with no fucking experience, and was like, "All right, see you later, kiddo. I'm gonna fuck off to an island. I'm retiring."
Man, I feel like that's how most boomer dads now
Yeah, pretty much
handle family stuff. They're just like, all right, see you later, son.
See you later, sport.
I gotta go buy milk.
I gotta go buy cigarettes. Bye.
Yeah, Mahmud was literally like, all right, Ahmed, you gonna watch the throne for daddy for a little bit. I'm gonna go get myself a carton of cigarettes and a gallon of milk. I'll be back in 15. 3 years later, in 1513.
3 years later.
So as I said, Portugal takes Malacca because we saw that coming, and Mahmud returns to Malacca in 1513, 3 years later. And what do you think he does?
He's like, give me this.
Kills everyone?
No, he deems his son, the current sultan, incompetent and stabs him to fucking death.
I knew it. He did say, give me this throne.
He literally was like, all right, you take over for me. I'm going to go peace out for a little bit. And by a little bit, I mean forever. And then not tell you how to run a kingdom. And then 3 years later, tell you you're doing a shit job of running this kingdom, stab you to death, and be like, oh, fuck, I missed this chair. It is so comfortable.
You guys ever go on a walk for milk and remember your chair at home and how it just perfectly conformed to your buttocks?
Yep.
And then you come home and stab your kid because he's sitting in your chair.
And you know what? I thought it was going to be more comfortable, and then I realized his ass imprinted on it for 3 years, so now I got to spend all this time re-imprinting my ass on this throne.
Why is that's still every boomer dad?
That is the truth.
Maybe except for the sun stabbing.
In my seat.
But yes, you're sitting in my seat.
They're literally hey, I didn't tell you anything, but can you take over this process? I'm gonna come back, tell you did it wrong,
and then take it over.
And then maybe assassinate you.
And then kill you.
And then kill you. As is my right as a father.
It is my right as a father.
I am your father, and
it?
you live under my roof, and you will follow my rules.
My rules.
I brought you into this world. I can take you out of it.
Amen.
Anyway, so he stabs his son, retakes the throne, and at this time, the Portuguese had, like, tossed the fucking Sultanate out the window, so Mahmud was just labeled as a pretender. Well, he tried and failed for the rest of his life, which was, like, another, not that long, to take back Malacca, and Malacca was never retaken, and it's just a fucking mess, and this guy's a prick.
In conclusion, Malacca never retaken.
In conclusion, Malacca, man. What happens in Malacca stays in Malacca, even if it's stabbing your son.
That's
Except
true.
it didn't.
Except it didn't. I'm talking about it.
Thank God for this podcast it didn't. Otherwise, we wouldn't have had a story.
Who would have known?
Well, we would have, but...
But yes, I'm sorry that I needed to keep that just disruptive and crazy energy from the beginning.
Randy Savage energy.
Dude, you said you were tired. I was tired. You needed to pump it up, pump the jams.
We did need to get pumped up.
And are you pumped up?
It's going to be very difficult for me to
follow that
record
energy.
the rest of the podcast following that energy, but I will do my utmost.
Attaboy.
With that being said, I'm going to tuck myself into my tight little niche that I've carved out for myself. As the dad of the podcast, it is once again my duty to bring you a story from every dad's favorite of the world wars.
Ooh.
That's right, kiddos. We're headed back to World War II.
Woo! The war's so nice.
Yeah.
They did it twice.
They named it twice. I am, however, stepping on Meghan's toes a little bit because she typically talks about the Japanese theater of this particular war, but my story comes out of there today, so rude. Fuck off. Rude.
Super rude.
The location of this story happens in the Bay of Bengal on an island called Ramri Island.
A ram.
That's a sex thing if you do it right. Essentially, the British troops were hoping to capture Ramri Island in order to be able to launch more attacks towards Japan or against Japan. But the island itself was already occupied by Japanese forces. So the British land there, and they attempt to take over the island, and that leads to a battle that lasted near 6 weeks.
Okay.
This battle ended up being pretty evenly matched, which led to a stalemate of sorts.
After 6 weeks, no one
the-
could fucking get an upper hand? Holy shit.
Yeah, no, for 6 weeks they were pretty evenly matched there. It was like trench warfare all over again.
Yeah.
But the British ended up outflanking the Japanese soldiers with the help of the 36th Indian Infantry Brigade. Close to 1,000 Japanese soldiers ended up being split off from their larger force. The British were telling them to surrender, but the Japanese end up going with the choice behind door number 2. And instead of surrendering to the British, the Japanese decided to make an 8-mile trek through a mangrove swamp.
That sounds like a terrible idea.
The British watched very happily from the sidelines, and I will tell you why after I let you guess what happens next.
After this break from our sponsors.
Yeah, this break for our sponsors.
Are you letting the listeners guess what happens next?
I am letting the listeners guess what happens, so I need
Okay.
I need you two's absolute silence.
I don't want to do that.
You're fucking wrong!
I was going for more the Bo Burnham thing where he's like, I'm bored.
I don't want to do that.
It's gotta
So
be
anyways, no.
another
Hey,
way.
Matt.
If you guys have a
I
guess.
don't have
yes,
a guess,
Zach.
but I was going to actually be like, and now a word from our sponsors. Tonight's episode is sponsored by the Triumvirate Productions. If you haven't signed up for our Patreon, you can look us up at the Triumvirate Productions on Patreon.
We're fully doing this. This is happening.
No, I just wanted to do that one little bit. That's all.
Thank you for telling me you wanted to do that and didn't. But
I am chaos tonight, Matt. I am the god of chaos.
So do you guys have any guesses what happens next?
I've never heard this story, so I'm very interested.
I'm gonna go with whatever the listener said.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay.
If you guessed that all of them were abducted by aliens, then you were absolutely wrong and should be ashamed of yourselves.
I was like,
Zach's
shit.
Like, I would have never.
But what did happen is that the Japanese soldiers started succumbing to disease and dehydration and poisonous snake attacks.
Yeah.
But the most prominent thing that they encountered were saltwater crocodiles.
I was gonna say alligators.
Alligators would have been wrong.
It's just a difference of
slightly
snout.
wrong.
All right, go fuck that.
It is a difference of snout, but it's also a difference of size because saltwater crocodiles are the biggest of the crocodilios.
Yes.
Oh no, crocodilios.
Because they can get up to 20 feet and be like 2,000 pounds. So
my God.
Saltwater crocodilios are just fucking dinosaurs.
I'm so scared.
You should be.
Saltwalker,
so scared.
Saltwalker, as if they're the Skywalkers.
The saltwalkers.
Saltwater crocodilios are obviously nocturnal hunters.
Obviously.
As most crocodile and alligator species are.
Mm-hmm. I didn't know that.
And since many Japanese soldiers had already died in the mangrove swamps, the smell of death was in the air, which was luring crocs out for feeding time.
Oh.
And so, one written account of an evening said this. I don't have the gentleman's name. I should have written it down, but I didn't. Fuck off. The crocodiles, alerted by the din of warfare and the smell of blood, gathered among the mangroves, lying with their eyes above the water, watchfully alert for their next meal. With the ebb of the tide, the crocodiles moved in on the dead, wounded, and uninjured men who had become mired in the mud. The scattered rifle shots in the pitch-black swamp, punctured by the screams of wounded men, crushed in the jaws of huge reptiles, and the blurred, worrying sound of spinning crocodiles made a cacophony of hell that has rarely been duplicated on Earth. At dawn, the vultures arrived to clean up what the crocodiles had left. So yeah, that's a pretty gruesome account of, a bunch of British soldiers just listening to people die.
I will say, I went to Florida once, and I saw a bunch of mangroves, and my first thought was, that looks spooky as shit. I'm not going anywhere near there. I'm not going anywhere where water and trees exist in the same fucking spot. That doesn't sound
true,
right.
Though.
Yeah.
Mangroves are so, I really like mangroves. I think they're really gorgeous, and I like seeing, the cross-sections of them in the aquarium, but, I'm not...
There's something very wrong about it.
I can't see the bottom.
I'm fully scared of any body of water that is known to house dinosaurs.
That's true, yeah.
Fair.
So, if I went to Florida, a tour through the Everglades would not be, on my list of shit to do.
Yeah.
That's not for you.
If I went to fucking Louisiana and went to visit the bayou, I would not go in an airboat because I don't want to get ate by a gator.
I did go on a tour of of the Everglades. I drove in, and it was just a short, a little area of it because obviously the Everglades National Park stretches
forever
so far. But it is so strange because there are trees around you, but there's water.
The trees aren't real because there's also water.
There's also water, and so. The person, our tour guide was just this is where they live. That's the crocodiles. This is where the alligators are.
Please,
and I was like,
don't shuffle too far to the left or right, because you will fall into the water and die.
But then they were just like, also, there are dolphins in here. I'm like, they gotta get out of here. They gotta...
they gotta get the fuck out of here.
We gotta get them to the Gulf.
What the fuck is a dolphin doing? Anyways, it's not really well known how many people survived the attack.
Probably not much. They're fucking dinosaurs.
The sources that I was reading said anywhere between like 480 and like 440 people survived out of 1,000 that went into the swamp.
Not many.
The British captured 20 troops themselves. But the loss of life there has been kind of hotly debated, not because, more people survived, but because they can't tell which people died from snakes, disease, or the dinosaurs. So
yeah, no, that's fair.
Yeah.
Or actual warfare.
Like, the resource that I was reading from was like, yeah, in the future, if you're left with the choice of, surrendering to the British or running through a mangrove swamp, maybe just surrender to the British. And I was like, I can't imagine that will be a choice that people have to make anytime soon.
Here's the thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go off.
I get your point. And
I thought you were just going to send us a picture of the thing.
It's a valid point.
It is a valid point.
But never give in. Never surrender.
Okay, but like...
I will fight the dinosaurs.
They didn't fight the dinosaurs, though, because it wasn't a competition.
It also wasn't, like, a fair fight. Like, they didn't come at them in the
Matt,
daytime.
it doesn't have to be a fair fight. I'll punch a dinosaur.
Yeah, but, like, they don't care. Like, you
How
can
much
punch...
time does Kevin from Home Alone have?
You think I care? I'll punch a fucking dinosaur.
That reminds me of the time that a guy was really drunk in Texas.
Yeah. I love where this is going already.
So there's this story of a guy that was super drunk in Texas. He was out with his friends at a lake, and there was a sign that said, "Do not enter the water, there are alligators here." And he said, "I don't give a fuck about no alligators." And then he dove in the water and immediately got eaten by an alligator.
That tracks.
Sounds about right.
That sign was right.
That sign was fully correct.
All right, maybe I won't punch a dinosaur. Anyway,
I don't.
They just
Zach,
won't
the
feel
thing
it.
is, I don't want you to lose an arm to an alligator.
But what if I get a really sweet robot arm?
That could also be a thing,
maybe.
so I fully endorse you punching an alligator.
Thank you.
The thing is, like, the Japanese, like, in World War II, were never gonna get cool robot arms. They didn't have that technology until quite recently.
But now they have Gundams.
Thanks to anime. Gundams weren't even invented yet.
They only have the power of God, not the power of God and anime on their side.
And anime, yeah.
Anime
I
only
have the
got...
power of God and anime. On
Anime
my
was
side.
only invented after the A-bombs were dropped.
Yeah, so that is the entirety of my story.
Just dinosaurs.
I think it's a great story about man v dinosaur.
Yeah.
Man v dinosaur.
Like, if we were able to go back in time to the dinosaur times, we know we'd fucking lose now.
Oh, yeah.
Well, yeah, for sure.
We were always
Especially if
gonna
we were
lose.
up to our hips in mud.
Okay.
Yeah, that's true.
I just think that that's, like, pure stupidity.
Yes.
On the part of, like... But it's also kind of wild that the British just, like, hung out around this swamp. Like, they could have just killed the people.
Yeah,
But instead they were like, we should give the alligators a kill count in this war, particularly.
Yeah, well, there were actually 3 sides to World War II.
Three sides in the war.
Yeah, it was the Allies, the Axis, and the
Alligators.
alligators. Sorry, they weren't
3 A's
alligators.
of World War II.
I'm sorry, it was the crocodilios.
Crocodilios. They were, in fact, crocodilios.
Either way.
It would have been better if they were alligators, because then it could be the AAA.
It would have been super great if they were alligators, but unfortunately we can't
credit them.
history to make the facts.
No matter what, I'm taking the crocodiles over the A-bombs. Because you drop an A-bomb on a crocodile and you just get fucking Godzilla. Like, there's no win.
You just get Godzilla, dude.
Godzilla.
Which, actually, I'm not afraid of, because the way Godzilla is proportioned scientifically, he would not be able to survive more than 5 seconds.
That's so true.
But it would be the most glorious 5 seconds.
It'd still take out most of Tokyo by just fucking landing on it.
By just falling. Over.
That's
I don't know why he sounds like a whale, but
I don't know, man. What does a Godzilla sound like?
According to... How did they make the Godzilla sound effects?
I'm sure by spitting in God's face.
What?
By spitting in God's face.
Godzilla's
Yep, that's how they made it. That's how they made the noise.
Scream.
Based on.
Made of.
Who did the Foley work for that?
What is Godzilla's...
Roar?
It was Japanese composer Akira Ifukube who had the idea to use a musical instrument to create the shriek we all know.
Oh.
It was actually a double bass using a leather glove coated in pine tar resin to create friction.
Oh.
They rub it against the string of the double bass to create that sound.
Wow, what an inspired moment. What a Jimmy Neutron brain blast.
You know what's crazy about that, though, is that we totally got off track, and as the dad of the podcast, I'm never supposed to let that happen.
Well, I think we did give people more historical facts than they bargained for now that they know about
today in history, you learned how fucking Godzilla's roar was made.
That's
Say
true.
thank you, you bitch.
Yeah, you're welcome.
We're so hostile tonight. I love it.
We did choose violence.
We did. It's because Venus is in my house.
I don't know anything about that, and I want us to move on as quickly as possible. Megan, tell us your story.
Yeah, okay. Well, since you told your story, I think, I'm gonna pick the story that dovetails with that.
Okay,
cool.
Megan.
Okay.
The queen of having multiple notes.
What's really fun about Megan is that she will write notes to be prepared, and she, comes with 3 of them, and she's like, I'll just pick this one because it works well with what my friends did.
Yeah.
It's nice because it's less work that I have to do.
It's just cute me things. So the name of my notes is called the OG Shark Week.
Okay.
Ooh, for those of you that are listening to this in the future, it is currently Shark Week.
Is it?
Is it?
Yeah, it started 2 days ago.
Oh shit!
Oh my god,
I'm so
it's
behind.
so good.
I don't have cable anymore.
Yeah, Shark Week started on the 24th.
I'm gonna watch all of Sharknadoes.
So, Matt, this actually goes doubly well with yours because it also has to do with the Pacific Theater during World War II.
Fuck yeah!
So I think we can all agree both crocodilios and sharks are really, really cool.
Sharks are terrifying, and dinosaurs.
Yeah, they are also dinosaurs. They're both crocodilios and sharks, very old, very big.
Crocodilios, sharks, alligators. They're all dinosaurs, and they're all terrifying.
They literally have not needed to change since the fucking Cretaceous period. They're scary.
They definitely haven't. So, okay, side note, when I did go to the Everglades, I did see, it was an alligator, it wasn't a crocodilio or a shark, but I, watched one of them go into the water,
and
on
it
its
never
short...
came out again.
So, it was, silently moving, and then, like a submarine, I just watched it sink below the water line, and I was like, and it didn't... It, didn't even... God. Dude, it didn't even, make a ripple in the water. I was like, this is why they haven't had to change. They're perfect. Just the way that they are.
Have you seen videos of sharks coming up from the bottom?
Yeah.
And just, you see nothing but blue ocean, and then all of a sudden there's just a black form that's just there, as if by magic.
They're so scary.
It's fucking creepy. That's why I'm afraid of the ocean.
I mean, thalassophobia is a real thing. And
way to fucking flex on us. Continue your fucking story.
Yeah. Pick that fucking bottle off the high shelf.
Yeah,
for
you're
us.
welcome.
It's a top shelf word, baby.
I know,
shelf
buddy.
word.
I'm winning at Scrabble right now. So anyway, one of the things that I think these dinosaurs all have in common is, especially sharks, right, is that they don't really care about humans, like contrary to popular belief.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
if we didn't exist, like sharks and crocodiles and alligators
Would not be bothered.
It would just be, they wouldn't be bothered. It would just be another day. Like, they're
It
older
would
than
honestly
we are.
probably be better for them.
Oh yeah, it would 1,000% be better for them.
Yeah.
They wouldn't be confused, is what I'm saying. like, I feel really bad sometimes for sharks because they're just like, is it a seal or a person? I
don't think they can make a distinction.
No.
They can't. They can't make a distinction. We look suspiciously seal-like.
Especially with our flippers and our
Yeah.
wetsuits.
I know, dude. And our surfboard abdomens. Anyway. The last thing, too, is I saw an article that was just like, this stupid teenager shark thought people's feet off of Long Island look like fish. It didn't want to eat the feet. And I was like, yeah.
Was that an Onion article?
No, it was a real NPR article that was like,
Jeez.
this young shark got confused about whether it was a fish or a foot.
I mean,
Same.
that's fair, though.
I
Yeah.
know, it is very fair.
I often get confused about whether it's a foot or a fish.
It's less fair for you.
Sometimes when my coworkers come in flip-flops, I'm like, why'd you bring a salmon to work? Oh, it's
No.
a foot.
No, that's not true. So, like I said, it would just be another day for sharks.
Yes.
Yeah.
However, that being said, sharks didn't evolve to be particularly picky about what they can see and decide to eat. And while they developed very strong senses of smell, their eyes are not so great. So sometimes a human looks like a seal or their footsies
Are you
look like
telling
fish.
me that sharks are the bats of the ocean?
Yeah, they're kind of bat-like. I'm not gonna lie.
Because
Like,
their eyes are bad?
yeah, they're just like blind old men, like drifting around.
Drifting around the ocean.
I'm
Yeah.
blind.
I'm
Is
blind.
that a fish?
Is that a
Is
fish?
that a fish or a foot?
I can't tell. I'm gonna try it.
What is it that we can smell from 4 miles away? Blood?
Not toast?
Is that
Not toast?
not toast? No, it's blood. Okay.
I think I'm having a stroke.
So all of this intro about sharks brings me to the fateful story of the USS Indianapolis. It was a naval ship that had delivered crucial components for the first operational A-bomb to the naval base on the Pacific Islands of Tinian. So,
Rannery.
yes.
Imagine.
The bomb would be dropped on August 6th, 1945 on the city of Hiroshima, but at this point in time, on July 28th, the Indianapolis had done its job and had sailed from Guam to the Philippines to prepare for an invasion of Japan. However,
Guam.
Guam. However, it did this alone, which I don't know. We've all played D&D. You don't split up the party. It's
You
dumb.
don't split the party.
You don't split the Navy. You don't split the party.
Fair enough.
It's fair enough, dude. So they were kind of like in the endlessness of the Pacific, and
Yeah.
all was quiet until the night, and they were blown to hell by a Japanese torpedo, like at midnight.
Okay.
The resulting wreckage saw
As
the
you
ship.
so often do.
As you so often do, the Japanese, they just sneak up on you,
And hit you with a torpedo.
hit you with a torpedo.
Yeah.
Just another Tuesday.
Dude, I can't tell you the amount of times that I've been snuck up on and torpedoed by a Japanese sub.
If I had a nickel,
I'd have 5 nickels.
I'd have at least 5.
I was gonna say, I'd only have 1 nickel. It's not a lot. I'd have 2 nickels. It's not
Well,
a lot.
Not
Zach-
a lot, but it's shocking that it happened twice.
Luckily for you, if you had 5 nickels, that's just enough to buy an American house in 1945.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, the housing market was very different back then. So the
You
resulting
guys that are listening to this podcast in the future, I hope you're enjoying it in your hut made out of cardboard.
That's true. Your 3D printed hut.
Yeah.
So the resulting wreckage saw the ship's bow blown 65 feet out of the water.
Jeez.
And yeah, it was a powerful torpedo.
Yeah.
That's a significant amount of height out of the water.
Damn, they got some fucking lift, huh?
They got distance on that.
It's going the distance. It's going
He's
for
going
speed.
X Games mode.
He's on X Games
He's
mode.
on X Games mode.
Which is, I assume, what one sailor said as he was watching his ship being blown.
From the back of the ship, he just sees the front go up 65 feet, and he's just like, oh, dang.
He's on. And his friends next to him being like, that's our ship. And I don't know why they're from Tennessee.
Bruh.
Maybe they were. I don't know.
Anyway,
so 65
the ship
feet.
gets blown up.
Yeah, out of the water, and thousands of gallons of aviation fluid is ignited that sends a pillar of fire shooting several hundred
I was wondering
feet
how
in
it got
the air.
65 feet in the air, but aviation fluid do be doing that.
Yeah, it was almost like it was meant for height.
You don't always think it be like that, but it do.
It do be like that.
It do be like that. So they shot a rocket into the air. The Japanese then were like, that wasn't enough. We didn't get enough height on that bad boy. So they fired another torpedo, and it hit the ship's fuel tanks, which caused a chain reaction of explosions that like ripped the ship in two.
Dude, they went from it was like James Bond, there's a car that goes underwater, and they were like, can we make a fucking boat go in the air?
Can we make a flying ship?
He's
They're
trying
like-
to fly that tank.
He's trying to fly that tank. So I assume then what happened was a Japanese soldier sat there with a stopwatch because it sank in just 12 minutes, and I don't know how we have that information when...
Maybe they did a recreation.
Yeah, they were just like, why don't we hit another ship with two torpedoes?
No, I mean, like, you could probably render it in a 3D modeling, Megan.
I just feel like...
I like Megan's assumption. I like Megan's
Although I
assumption
do-
that there is a guy with a stopwatch.
I do think the Americans would blow up a second ship just to see.
That's also true.
But, like, they
Like,
did...
if we can get these conditions exactly right, we can see what it looked like for the front of a ship to go up 65 feet.
So you joke, but like they did do this when they were testing out thermonuclear bombs. They were like, what's the biggest that a Japanese naval fleet was? And then they just let off a nuke in the middle of them in the ocean.
Wow,
So,
wild.
Yeah, they just like did that all the time. It's why we
Oh,
can't go to Bikini Atoll anymore.
Yeah.
So it sank in 12 minutes, and of the 1,196 men on board, 900 made it into the water alive.
Wow, that's a surprising number of living people.
Yeah.
That's
But
a
since
surprise.
we spend
yeah.
so much time at the beginning of this story talking about sharks, I'm probably going to have a nightmare about this story later.
Yeah. The rocket ship wasn't the end for them, though.
Oh, no.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I would have preferred to go out in a ball of fire if I'm...
Yeah, I mean, honestly, though, I would have too, because the sun rose the next morning on the men who
Oh,
bobbed.
they survived the night.
Yeah, they survived the night. So as they bobbed in the sea and watched the sun rise over water,
They got eaten by sharks.
pretty much, like, they just formed up into groups. They took stock of what was going on, and as they like started to stave off exposure and hunger, they also had to fend off sharks who were drawn to the area by the sounds of explosions and the smell of blood in the water.
Like a man who was shot in the chest with a rifle. He was shot in the
Yeah.
chest with a rifle.
He was shot in the chest with a rifle.
Like a man who
Yep.
was eaten by a shark. He was a man who was
Yep.
eaten by a shark. Fuck.
Yep. So it's very similar to Matt's story. The sharks were kind of like drawn to the sound of war. They
So what we're
Remember,
saying
they have-
is microplastics bad for animals. War, good for animals.
Yeah, good for animals, surprisingly.
It just makes me think of the song, like, war.
What is it good
what
for?
What is it good for?
Sharks and alligators.
Feeding the fucking animals.
Feeding the animals.
The rest of the planet besides humanity.
God.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was really good for drawing, like, this giant pack, herd of sharks.
I think it's called a fuck no, please.
Yeah, a fuck no of
sharks. What's the name for it?
It's a fuck no, please of sharks.
Yeah,
what is the name for a group of sharks?
Yeah, what is the name of a group of sharks?
I can only imagine that it's like a herd.
Is it?
Group of sharks.
It's a shiver of sharks.
Oh,
You're goddamn right it is.
God,
yes,
I hate that.
I love it.
I hate that so much. That's so bad.
I think everything about sharks unsettles me.
It's shiver of sharks.
Mainly the fact that it's got cold dead eyes.
Naked those eyes.
After this story, I'm gonna show you something awful.
Hey, here's the thing. Please don't, because I will cry.
I feel obligated now. Anyway, so during the first night, the sharks focused on the floating dead, but as the survivors struggled in the water, more sharks came because they're like, ooh, what's making the water go wibbly wob? And they have like this cool thing on their bodies called a lateral line, which are like a bunch of receptors that along their bodies that pick up subtle movements in the water
like
from hundreds of yards away.
It's
they have a shark sense. They have shark sense.
Also, you can call them a frenzy of sharks.
That makes more sense.
Yeah, I think a shiver is worse.
Yeah, but
which is why I refuse to say it.
A shiver of sharks. They make you shiver in anticipation.
Please keep going.
Yeah, one of the sharks did that before he took a bite.
One of the sharks has on fishnet leggings and lipstick.
Oh my god.
Dr. Frankenshark. Yes.
I hate this. Yeah,
I'm surprised that fucking sci-fi hasn't made a movie about that yet.
Rocky Horror Shark Show.
Rocky Horror Shark Show.
I really wouldn't
just
put
cute
it past
shark
them either.
things. So anyway, the sharks then turned their attention onto the living, particularly those that were injured, causing the other sailors to like quarantine themselves away from those people. They're like, "Hey Sam, I know we were best friends, but you've been shot in the arm."
And that shark's eyeballing you pretty good.
Yeah, he's got the eyes for you, so you're gonna stay over there.
I imagine this being like the shark version of McDonald's. It's like, I'm just gonna pick up my breakfast human.
Yeah.
Hey,
and then
I'll swing back by McDonald's tonight for my dinner human.
I'm having my breakfast human, but ooh, they offer hash brown human too. I might have to grab a side of that.
Yeah, dude. So some of the survivors made the mistake of opening cans of Spam to eat.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
I don't know, dude. Sharks love Spam.
First off, two things.
That's...
One.
Yeah.
Sharks like Spam. That's a scientific fact. Two.
That is a fact.
You're chugging salt water by bobbing around in the ocean. Why are you also eating the world's saltiest food?
It's literally salted pork in a can, and you're like, you know what? The salt water was not
I
enough.
love salt. This is America in the 1950s.
This is the taste of salt. This is salt for breakfast, salt for
All right, boys, we've had our cigarettes. It's now time for our salt. Ha ha.
Just like our whole thing.
Have you ever tried salting your cigarettes?
Oh, no, I haven't, Davey. I thought they came pre-salted.
Oh my god. Yeah, I just
never have too much salt.
Salt and nicotine, the American diet.
And repression.
No, we don't talk about that.
Yeah, well, exactly. So we'll just fill our mouths with salt.
Oh, shit. Okay,
So-
please tell me more about these men that got eating
Yeah.
Spam.
Eating spam. So the attacks happened over a period of days with no signs of rescue for the men because the Navy disregarded the Japanese messages that they had sunk the Indianapolis.
Oh, wow. Good.
They thought it was a trick.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, the Japanese were like, hey, we sunk a ship, and the Americans were just like, you're liars.
They're yanking our chain.
You liar.
Yanking our chain.
I also really love the idea of, like, not one person being like, okay, so I know they're lying, but we could probably go check.
We could check it out.
Would it
like,
hurt
it's not.
to check?
Like, it's on the way. It's on the way from Guam to the Philippines.
But it could also have been, like, a thing where they didn't want to check, because what if the Japanese sub is still there to shoot more torpedoes?
That's true.
Here's the thing. We have planes. We could send planes. The sub can't get the planes.
Yeah, but
Are you sure?
are you actually going to be able to see a lot of floating dead people?
I'm pretty sure you
So-
could.
Yes,
In the
because
waves?
this brings me to my next part of the story.
Although it was a cluster of, like, 900 people, so...
Well, less at this point.
A
Many
gaggle.
Well,
million.
obviously, yeah.
So,
A gaggle of humans.
a gaggle of humans, and we were talking about planes, right? So they were
Yeah, we were.
rescued when a
By a
naval
plane?
seaplane flying overhead.
boss. The
Yeah. The plane, like a naval seaplane flying overhead, heard their radio for help and dropped supplies to them, and then disobeyed naval orders to land in the water to help the men. So I don't know why their naval
How many men were left at this point?
Okay, so
Three
at
guys?
the end of the day, like when
Yeah.
another naval ship arrived and helped all their survivors out of the water, the original crew number, out of the original crew number, only 317 remained.
That's nightmarish.
So it's estimated that while a lot of them did die of exposure and like madness due to like drinking salt water, at least 150 men did die from the sharks themselves.
Okay, I would have... So, first of all, none of this story appeals to me as ways to go. But, like, I would have rather died in the initial explosion, because at least that's
1,000%.
quick.
Yep.
Dying of exposure, I guess, would have also been fine, because it's just like, okay, I'm cold, nights.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think you're right. Like, dying initially, because, like, you don't have time to think about it.
Yeah.
Dying of exposure, because you kind of just go to sleep.
Yeah.
A worse way to go is, like, dying of madness, I guess, is the next from swallowing salt water too much.
Yeah. And I think, if I had to... No, to be honest, I think the way that I would least like to go is being eaten by a fucking shark.
Yeah, 1,000% eaten by shark, worst way to go.
Okay, here's what I'll say.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
wait, hang on. Let me make a prediction. Mm-hmm. Zach would fight the dinosaur.
I would fight the dinosaur. You can punch a
I knew it.
If you punch a shark in the gills, sometimes they back off. But I think if I was...
Are you gonna really punch that many sharks in the gills before they get their big mouth there? And they are 90% mouth, Zach. Before they can get
mouth.
their mouths.
They are not
on you.
90% mouth.
And the
However,
other 90% is shark, Zach.
How much mouth percentage?
They're 90% mouth and
shark.
90% the rest of the shark.
First off, my actual point was going to be, if I'm going to go in that way, I think I would go from the madness of the saltwater, because, like, space madness sounds great. Anyway.
Space madness does sound great. Water madness also sounds kind of fun.
Sounds pretty dope. But...
And you're kind of ignorant to your own madness, right? It's only others that have to deal with your madness.
Yeah, that's the thing, too. They were like, the people who went mad were like even more of a danger than the sharks to
because
the other
they
sailors.
would try and drown the people around them, right?
Yeah, like they would, and I don't understand what happens in people's brains, right, when they succumb to like saltwater madness, but like it always
Too much
sounds
salt.
like they try to drown other people.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I don't know
Just
why.
too much salt in the water.
Too much salt.
But I don't know why, like, the logical... I guess you're mad, but, like, I don't know
Megan,
why...
I'll be honest with you. It's a decent amount of salt.
Yeah, you're right.
But
I just feel like the American public has been training for this.
For salt?
For salt.
For salt.
But what I will say also is, I'm a man
Yes, you're a man.
who does not want to die with a kiss on his lips. I would rather die.
Zach wants to die in battle.
I would rather die fighting a dinosaur.
Okay.
Zach's gonna fight a dinosaur.
So I will take Shark Punch. And how many punches can I deliver before Shark gets me? I don't know. But how many licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop? There's only one way to fucking find out.
Hey guys, see the very first episode of our podcast if you want to know the answer to that specific question.
And if you want to know the answer to how many punches it takes for Zach to get eaten, I don't know when we'll find that out. But
I legitimately watched a video the other day of a guy that was like diving and a shark came up behind him.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And like he's swimming away from the shark and then he all of a sudden does like a full 180, grabs the thing's nose and just pushes it away.
Yep. He's like, hey.
I was like, no, sir.
And
I was like, no money at all in my life could make me turn and face a shark. I would rather die not knowing what my killer looked like.
1,000%.
My third and final point. Before I say Meghan, I'd like to hear the end of their story if you have not already stated it. My final point is, if I survive all those shark punching moments, do you imagine how much of a
you got to tell your
good fucking story it is? Along with my probably having a robotic arm? That sounds better than the fucking crocodile bullshit.
But here's the thing. Yeah. There are two ways. There are two, like, if you survive that experience, right? Like, there are two paths you then walk down. You either turn into Gary Paulson.
Yes.
And you write 200 books worth of your trauma. Or you unpack all of that trauma and a lot of very expensive therapy. And become and if you cannot afford it, you become a serial killer. Yeah. So there are three paths. I'm sorry.
3 paths. Serial killer. Poor because of therapy. Gary Paulson. Yeah.
So that was the end of my story, though.
Okay.
I had nothing else to add. But I thought it went really well with.
Yeah, no, it did, because as I was researching the Rummery Island massacre, it did say this was very much like the USS Indianapolis.
Yep.
And I was like, let me bookmark that for later, but now I don't need to.
No,
because,
you can take that
because
bookmark
I know
off.
what happened.
You can take that bookmark off there.
It's always fun, like, so today was just a bad day for me because it's a staff meeting, and I always have very low energy after those. Mm-hmm. And so I was just like, I have to research something for the podcast tonight. And then I heard about a bunch of Japanese people getting eaten by crocodiles. And it didn't make the day better. I think the only way that could have been better is if it was Nazis. But it did make my day more interesting. Finally gave me something to focus on that wasn't, like, work-related.
There you go.
Which was nice. But... podcast listeners, I will get halfway through my outro before Zach interrupts me, but I did just want to say thank you for coming to join us. I have but one final question for you, and it is this.
I'm going to cut you off right at the end, because I'm feeling so dastardly tonight. Anyway, before you finish, Matt, because apparently I'm fucking edging you in this outro, if everyone would also like to take a moment to grab your phones, get to your computers. If you're driving, stop the car and pull over, but remain seatbelted. Buckled up? That's the word I'm looking for. Go right to your Instagram and click and look under _triumvirate_productions and hit that follow button. And then when you're done with that, you should go on Facebook and look up the Triumvirate Productions and follow that. And then finally, if you're feeling extra saucy, you should go on Patreon and look up the Triumvirate Productions. And it's extra saucy because you can give us money and we give you more things. Shh, we won't tell anyone.
And after that, you should ask yourself this question. What the fuck, history?